Are we live? Is this working? Alrighty. Well, welcome in everyone. My name is Eric with SweetSpotDFS. This is a DFS strategy video. I'm going to be talking about the SweetSpot Ranks, the Marquee Tee times, and I'm bringing back the anchor buckets. But before we get into any of that, I want to remind you guys of giveaways that I like to do. Now, this monthly giveaway that I'm showing on the screen is also my weekly giveaway. I want to reward those that participate on the channel. And all that you need to do is be subscribed and comment down below. And I'll run the weekly giveaway in next week's preview video, like I did this week. So I already gave out the money, the user already knows about it. So I did call it a winner in the preview video from the Tournament of Champions. Next week is the American Express. I'll call out winners for this giveaway then. So if you want a free entry, be subscribed, comment down below, participate in the live chat. Those are gonna get you free entries into that giveaway. And then at the end of the month, if we can reach the subscriber goal, as you can see all the way over there to the left, 500 subscribers is the goal. If we reach that, I'm going to give $50 away to somebody. If not, I'm going to give a t-shirt away that has this logo on it. So either way, someone's going to win for participating on the channel. So it's not like no one's going to lose. Someone's going to win something. So again, be subscribed, comment down below, participate on the channel any way that you possibly can. Shout out to the new subscriber, Bobby McQuirk. Dave S has been killing it in the comment section. Top commenter. I'm going to try to call those out every single video that I do just to give some recognition. So thank you all. And Shot Like Harden, man, you're always in here too. So appreciate you. And Joanne. Hi, Joanne. Joanne is an all-star when it comes to commenting. Appreciate your participation. All right, next giveaway, Prize Picks giveaway. If you're not signed up with Prize Picks yet, go ahead, check out the link down below. That'll get you to the sign up page. It'll already put in the promo code SweetSpot. If you put 20 bucks in, I'm going to give you your $20 back, plus Prize Picks will match your deposit up to $100. So that 20 turns into 40, and it really just costs you that initial deposit as well as your sign up information. Everyone in the industry is giving away that deposit match up to 100 bucks, but I'm going a step further, giving $20 back to someone who does sign up with the promo code SweetSpot. Everyone wins that way. So highly encourage you to. Again, link in the description below. And of course, I'm providing a cheat sheet. Let me go ahead and put it on the screen. This is available to you guys. There's a link in the description below that'll get you straight to this page. All that I suggest is go to the file menu, make a copy. That way you can use all the filters that I will be using throughout this video. There is the bucket system that's also included in this, so you can also put the filters that I will be doing throughout this video in there as well. And I did update it with the tee times, with the Marquee Tee times, the wave, all that good stuff. So everything is up to date. You can already see there's been one withdrawal, that is James Hahn. So I just keep him there just to give you a heads up that he is no longer in the player pool with bright red fill around the name and everything. Just letting you know, I don't know if anyone was going to play James Hahn, but just letting you know that he is unavailable. Do not play him. So not only is the cheat sheet available, this is available to anyone, again, with the link below. We're going to talk about the SweetSpot ranks first, just to give you guys an idea who's number one in my model, as well as how the score is created. So if I go ahead and sort this from top to bottom, you're going to see Brian Harman as my number one golfer. Here, let me go a step back. I'm going to show you how everything is created. So I've got this input sheet, which I'll zoom in for you guys to see. I created this to save time on my end. Every little piece here has some formula written inside of it. That formula is based off of, let me just pull this down. You can see all of the tabs here. Most of my spreadsheets have a ton of tabs to them. I don't really show them on the stream or on any of the podcasts, but they're there. And so I have all of these pieces of information. We have grass stats in here. I update this every single week according to whatever golf course we're at. Again, because I don't have, yeah, what's up, Chad? We are live. Because I don't really have a database or a website that I can pull this information in easily. Of course, obviously working that way, I update everything all the time. So what I'm trying to get to is this SweetSpot score. If I scroll all the way over, and this is also available to you guys, you can see where the score is on the cheat sheet, as well as I'll show you here shortly. You can see Tom Kim when we just look at his grass stats, I have it penalized pretty harshly. Now, if I were to scroll all the way back to what we actually have for his grass stats, look at this. He has a 50% mark of finishing inside the top 10 on Bermuda grass golf courses. There's only 6 events that he has posted, and all of them came last year. So this is your last year grass stat. This is the overall grass stat. You can see they match. So this all comes from last year. But 50% of his events, he finished inside the top 10. Now, in here, I know you're not going to see the formula because it's really small, but I have this as if events are less than 7, then it marks it at the lowest amount possible that I give any golfer with grass stats. Yeah, you can kind of see the formula in here. It's pretty messy, hey? If I were just to move this to a 6, and also his top 10 percentage, if I move this to a 6, and also this one to a 6, you can see his scores updated pretty much. He obviously goes to number 1, and it's not even close. So he's 100 points over, well, 60 points over Sung Jae, 50 points over Brian Harman. But of course, those things are in there because, as I've seen in the past, any new rookie, anybody who's just started out, grass stats can be skewed because you could come out hot and maybe that was just a one-time thing. Now, this is Tom Kim. We probably think he's an elite golfer. So I just wanted to mention that he's really number 1 in the rankings, but it's going to show up as number 5. It doesn't really matter for us when we build lineups because it's still going to pull in Tom Kim regardless, but we can actually make those updates on the optimizer and put him up there just to see if it just organically chooses Tom Kim or if we have to kind of force him in there. But either way, I wanted to share that with you so you know. But yeah, again, how I use SweetSpot scores, we look at OWGR, all of the grass stats, overall, top 10 percentage. Those go back to 2013. We look at last year, so a full year's worth of grass stats. You can ignore grass stat 2. You can see all of the numbers are the same. Then we're looking at course history. I just marked this as tournament history just because that then encompasses every golf tournament that I do. We've got bogey avoidance, birdie or better, driving distance. Obviously, Chad, Josh, and I talk about this all the time. The further you hit the ball, the more scoring opportunities you're just going to have because you'll probably have shorter clubs into the green regardless of if you're forced to carry something or you're forced to lay up or anything like that. Still, driving distance will matter. It's not perfect. Can you hear me now? Jeez. All right, we might have some issues with the mic. If that is the case, I might have to do a quick break, but I think we're good. What I was saying is driving distance, you know, if you're forced to carry a certain distance or if you're forced to lay up, you're still going to have shorter irons into the green. So that's why we include driving distance. And then we have recent form stats. I'm looking at DraftKings points over the last 7 weeks. I'm looking at recent form, like their average finishing position, as well as the scoring average. This is pretty watered down. Plus, you know, we really don't have recent form, if we're being honest here, because recent form over the last 2 weeks, they just don't. We're looking just really at the tournament champions and then the Hero World Challenge, which I'm not including recent form. So no one really gets an advantage. No one really gets, you know, anything from this. I could really eliminate it and then we can see a different score and a different rank, but we'll just include it for the time being. We're looking at season-long DK points, scoring average, round under 70%, cut made percentage, DK top 10. This goes 1 full year back. And then I do include anything that's out because I want to penalize those that are out. Obviously, we can see that, is James Hahn on here? He should, oh, he's going to be way at the bottom. That's why. Yep. So minus 1,000. But that comes into our score, and that's how we get our rankings. Remember, Tom Kim is number 1, so keep that in mind. He's truly number 1. He's currently ranked 5th in my model, so just bump everyone down in the top 4 spots. Now, these rankings go into the Marquee Tee times, and if you are on the cheat sheet, go ahead, sort from top to bottom under this group rank, and this will get you your group, your Marquee Tee times. This all goes by the overall sweet spot score in a group, and I rank them according to which group has the lowest score. So if you wanted to fact check me, you can go on the cheat sheet, sort it by group rank, and then just tally up the totals for each of these guys. Trust me, it's true. It calculates. I did it before going live because I didn't want to make any mistakes. But how I look at this is, we're going to go ahead and group all of these. All I'm doing is holding the control button down and clicking and holding until I get all 3 golfers. So these are Marquee Tee times. The rule is you want to select 2 golfers from these Marquee Tee times. And if I go back in the last 70 weeks, all but 3 times we have at least 2 golfers from the Marquee Tee times be in the optimal lineup, or not be in the optimal lineup. So 3 total times over the last 70 weeks, we have not seen at least 2 in the optimal lineup. So keep that in mind. And the other rule that I like to follow is don't select 2 golfers from the same group. So those are really the 2 rules that I like to follow with the Marquee Tee times. They kind of help us anchor around certain golfers. So if you already see some golfers that you like, personally, I think this is an interesting group because how many people kind of were thinking like, oh, I like Adam Scott as well as Hideki, as well as Sung Jae. Well, kind of how the Marquee Tee times show, you probably just want one of them. Don't select 2 or more. Now, have there been times where we have seen golfers from the same group in the optimal lineup? Absolutely. But over the last 70 weeks, that's, I think, a max of 5 times. So the percentages aren't in your favor. Not saying it can't happen. So obviously, choose the golfers as you wish. But for me, I like to just stick with it. I'll play the percentages. I'm only going to play 1 golfer. I'm going to choose 1 golfer, which makes this really interesting because if you look at the Marquee Tee times, like Matsuyama and Im are usually, those are going to be some golfers that we have to choose upon. But there's Russell Henley with Tom Hoge. So even if you want to do a more balanced build, it's kind of pushing you away from doing like a Henley and Hoge lineup, or even like either of those 2 with Matt Kuchar. So that makes things interesting. We also have Tom Kim with Keegan Bradley and Mackenzie Hughes. That's more digestible because it's like, well, who would you rather choose? Tom Kim or Keegan Bradley? It's probably easier to go with someone like Tom Kim. And then we have Jordan Spieth, Billy Horschel, Zach Johnson. There's been, anyone hear about Billy Horschel withdrawing? I'm not sure if he actually has. I know there's been reports that he has, or he's going to, something like that. Like his swing was really terrible during the Century Tournament Champions. I don't personally know, but what I like about this group, if you think about it, look at the shot shapes that every golfer hits in them. They're all draws. Now, I gotta say this really quickly. I haven't touched this whole golfer information page, like where it draws all these shot shapes from. I need to go in and update all the younger kids like Tom Kim and some of these other guys. Adam Svensson. Pretty sure Svensson hits a fade. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure he does. Same applies with Tom Kim. He also hits a fade. So when you have golfers that kind of see each hole the same way, they're all hitting the same shot shape, that helps a lot. So for me, seeing Spieth, Horschel, and Zach Johnson together, they all predominantly hit draws. Obviously, Spieth can hit it both all of them can hit it both directions, but we all know Zach Johnson has a super strong grip. He prefers hitting a draw. They just, when it's a straight hole, most of them are going to choose a draw in this group. So I like that. I think that plays into Jordan Spieth's strengths, because if you all golf with someone and you watch, or if you're in a group of golfers and they all hit the same shot shape, it's really easy for you to see that same shot in the air, aim the same way they aimed, and hit a similar shot. So that's kind of how I view a lot of this. Now, does it hurt, like, say, JT Poston, who hits a fade primarily with the other 2 golfers in his group that hit draws? No, it doesn't. Not as much. I just think there's a bit of a benefit when they all hit the same shot shape. So keep that in mind. So with that being said, for each of you in the chat, Who are you? What are the two golfers you guys are leaning towards right now? Barry R, save that lineup to a little bit later. So your Tom Kim, Spieth, Cam Davis. Remind me when I start building lineups to do that, because I don't know if the chat's gonna move from me where I won't be able to see it. I'm just catching up with chat. Shot like Harden. I'm glad you got the shirt. How do you like it? Can't remember if you got the perfect tee or if you just got the eco shirt. I like the perfect tee. It's nice and snug. Joanne, is that Ben Taylor and Ben Griffin? Okay. Tom Kim and Harmon, Brian Harmon. Sweet. Do you so shot like Harden, you like Hoagie and Henley, huh? And Barry R, that last one, you're Adam Scott with Tom Kim and Jordan Spieth. We'll see how that goes. I actually have a fun lineup that I want to build later that includes Tom Kim and Jordan Spieth. Like you make a lot of good lineups if you put those two guys together. All right. So these are your marquee tee times. I do have some honorable mentions down here. Cameron Davis, Lucas Glover, Chad Ramey. Really interesting about Chad Ramey. He was in the Tournament Champions last week, and he's $6,300. That's a pretty darn good value. Now, I don't want to play Chad Ramey. Like, he's not a golfer that I care to play. I remember, rostering him in the middle of the year last year after he'd won at Punta Cana. I think it was Punta Cana. Pretty sure it was. I think it was like the Rocket Mortgage is where I rostered him, and he was like DFL, like terrible. So I don't think that's a route that I care to go for or to care to go down. Right. So let's move on and go into our anchor buckets. So if you guys want to follow along with me again on the cheat sheet, hit that link down in the description, go to the cheat sheet, file, make a copy, like I've said before. That way you can utilize the filters on here. So I'm gonna go ahead and put a filter on here. Remember, we want to remove recent form buckets because there's really no purpose to having them, and you're just gonna see nothing but zeros here anyways. I want there to be at least 2 events within the last 7 weeks to actually start looking at recent form, so we can just primarily ignore it. And again, you're not going to have any numbers in there anyways. So you can go into that stat, go down to recent form, unselect it, and then hit OK. And now we have this. When I like to look at anchor buckets, first of all, I want this minimum projection to be at least 1. So you can go to filter by condition and go greater than or equal to 1. And then furthermore, what I want in the max projection is greater than 2. Not greater than or equal than 2. I want greater than 2. You can see there's some really close ones here. 1.99, 1.97. That still isn't over 2, so I'm not going to include that. And the purpose that I want to kind of remove these is, if you remember in the bucket system, if the max isn't greater than 2, that means the minimum is 0. And obviously, I'm not going to change these numbers for you guys. I want you to see them as they are. I'm a very visual evidence type of person. So I want to give you that opportunity to see it with your own eyes. It's not like I'm blowing smoke. But anyways, we're going to go greater than 2. And really, this is going to narrow down our buckets quite a bit. The other thing I want to do is I want to look at how many golfers are in that bucket this week. And I want to make it really easy for myself. So when I want to select at least one guy, I don't want to look at a bucket that has 69 golfers in there. I also don't want to see a bucket that has 125 golfers in it. What I want to do is actually limit this. And really, you don't have to put a conditional on here. You can go in here and just select a bunch of them because that's not going to be difficult. Personally, I would want less than 30. And if I were to do that, we're really only looking at 3 buckets. But I think I want to open this up to 43 because I think we can look at each of these pretty equally. Shot like Harden, I like a lot of guys who played last week, and obviously the buckets, we can see 2 buckets that you want to select golfers from that played last week. So that last week, 1 bucket are golfers who finished somewhere between 1st to 20th place. That last week, 2 bucket is anyone who finished 21st to 40th place. Now, there were only 39 golfers in that field, But I've been tracking this since 2013 at the Sony Open, so this goes back a long, long ways. Obviously, we've been hearing in the DFS industry or even the golf betting world that, oh yeah, most of the winners here have played at the tournament champions the week before. Well, obviously, I do that in great detail. I tell you, like, during these different ranges, how frequent you see golfers inside the top 10 who played the week before and what their finishing position was the week before. So, kind of going with that, we can see 2 anchor buckets. So first of all, let's just go ahead. Let's get into this. Last year, 1 bucket is an anchor bucket. And once again, if you're following along with me on the cheat sheet, again, you want to make your file menu, make a copy, go to filter, put that DraftKings filter on there, and then we are just looking at last year 1s. Now, we want at least 1 golfer from this bucket. And these are golfers who topped 20 last year. But we can go 1 to 3 golfers. So again, it's at least 1, but we can go up to 3, which makes things really interesting because looking at like Hideki Matsuyama at $10,000, that makes things pretty challenging. If you like Tom Kim and Jordan Spieth, you see they're not here, and we're looking at our first anchor bucket. But if say you like Russell Henley, Corey Connors, Keegan Bradley, I forget who he's grouped up with, but it's one of those golfers that I think he's with Tom Kim, if I remember correctly. Keith Mitchell, Christian Bezuidenhout, and then we get into our 7K range and 6K range. Now, these could be the golfers that actually work their way into the top 10, and you'd want these guys, one of those guys over one of these guys. But with 1 to 3, I feel like it's really unlikely that all 3, if there were 3 to actually finish inside the top 10, would come from this range. I think you probably want to start with one of these guys, which kind of blows up lineup construction for me because if I don't go Matsuyama, I find it difficult to go with some of these other guys just because of who I like. But of course, we'll look at this when we get into building lineups. There are some 7K golfers I don't mind playing, and there are some 6K golfers here that I don't mind playing, including Dylan Wu, who just made it in. I don't remember what for or how, like if it was a Monday qualifier or whatever, but I don't mind Dylan Wu. So that's our first anchor bucket. Going into the next 2, we're looking at last week 1s and last week 2s. We can first look at the last week 1s. We want somewhere between 1 to 3 here. So again, we'll go in here, we'll select all, including everybody, but then we'll just look at our last week 1s. And now we've got decisions because obviously I really like Tom Kim. I really like Jordan Spieth. Those are 2 golfers I like quite a bit this week. But none of those guys were in the last year 1 bucket. So you can see over here, no one was. Oh, I'm sorry, Corey Connors. So maybe this is a Corey Connors week. Hickok being a sleeper. Sure. We'll see about that. I'll probably eat my words just by saying that, but yeah, Connors being a last year 1 as well as a last week 1. Remember when I say if they're golfers that have been in multiple anchor buckets, it doesn't. How do I usually phrase it? It doesn't ensure they're going to be inside the top 10. It just increases their chances. So with that being said, Corey Connors might be a really good choice, but same with Brian Harman. Like I wouldn't mind that. I will say this though. Never mind. I'm going to actually retract that. I saw the last year 5 bucket and thought it was a bad bucket, but it's not. That's a missed cut bucket, and missed cuts usually tend to be pretty decent. So, 1 to 3 golfers from here. Who are you eyeing up? Who would you want in your lineups? I mean, it's nothing but 8K and above golfers. So that's already really difficult. Is it just 8 golfers in this bucket? Yeah. 8 golfers. The top 20 last week. Who's your winner? Is Chad Ecker here? Who's your winner, Chad? From this list right here. All right. I'm going to move on, go to the next one. I think there's like a 10-second delay between what I say and yeah, it's quite a bit. I have the stream up too, checking it out. Yeah, it's about 10 seconds. Okay. moving on to the next one. Last week twos, we want somewhere between 1 to 3. This, I think, was a 0 to 2 bucket. Oh no, 1 to 3 is good. We can do 1 to 3. I have all the buckets open. Let's close some of these. Not all the buckets, but all these stats. There we go. All right, so last week twos are the next bucket. We want somewhere between 1 to 3, but probably closer to 2, most likely. Barry, yeah. I mean, shot like Harden and Barry, you can fight it out. Spieth or Connors. Look at this bucket. So last week twos, we already talked about Matsuyama being a last year 1, and now we're looking at him in a last week 2. He's been in 2 anchor buckets so far. Same as Russell Henley, Keegan Bradley, as well as Adam Svensson. So I think I really only want to play 1 guy from here. Maybe a max of 2. I did say it goes up to 3, but I think if we were to look at just the buckets, I tweeted this out earlier. I keep track of all the tallies, so this is just your totals here, but then obviously I've got top 20s, top 10s. If we look at last week, the last week bucket, there's only been 1 year where we've had more than 1 from this bucket. So this is that 20 to 40 range at the Tournament of Champions. Otherwise, it's kind of a mix of 1s and 0s, binary code. I don't know what that tells me in binary. A nerd joke. But I think if I'm going to choose 1, that's fine. I can also go with 0. So with that being said, like 1 being the most, if I wanted to start with Spieth or Tom Kim, this is an easy way to get on someone like Russell Henley, and I think he probably fits the mold a little bit easier. If I did go with Spieth, I'm not playing Horschel. Remember, they're paired up together. Keegan Bradley might be interesting, but he's paired up with Tom Kim. So I can already kind of cross out these 2 guys because they're with golfers that I probably want to anchor around. But the more and more I look at this, the more and more I gravitate towards Hideki, and I can't remember who I was talking about in the comments. It could have been Barry. Barry, let me know if it was you. Someone was like, well, Hideki is I'm thinking Hideki back to back. The buckets are kind of pointing towards that, which to me is a little scary. I don't know if I want to play Hideki. I don't really have an issue playing Hideki. I do like JT Poston. I don't mind Adam Scott, any of these guys. I really probably won't play any 3 of these guys down here, though. I can probably exclude them and just really look at these guys. So there's 8 guys. Pick 1, maybe 2. So that's the last week 2 bucket. Let's go into the next one. Course history 3. This is a big one. This is like a kind of a volume driven bucket. We see 38 of them this week. Usually we see 34, and we've seen at least 1 golfer from this bucket finish inside the top 10 every single year. I am projecting somewhere between 2 to 5, but of course I do have that conservative max projection over here just to kind of weigh us down or to boost us up, depending on what the sweet spot score is for every golfer in that bucket. Brings us down. So it's somewhere between 2 to 4, but we can go up to 5. Okay, Barry. Yeah, I don't remember who it was. Can't remember off the top of my head. But anyways, 2 to 5. And I guess if we wanted to take a look at the buckets just to give us kind of a better feel of the course history buckets, course history 3 is what we're looking at, and obviously we want to see top 10. So if I scroll across this, 1 year we did have 1. Oh, that jolted us all the way over there. Let's do this. So 1 year we had 1, but we've had at least 2. Well, let's take this. So 2 years we've had 2 or less. Otherwise we've had more than that. And if we're looking at kind of our average per year in that bucket versus how many we have this year, it's probably leaning towards 2 to 3 golfers from this course history 3 bucket. At least 2, maybe, or I should say even maybe at least 3. Of course, we have to take into account the quality of golfer. That matters a big, a ton. So let's take a look at this course history 3 bucket. Remember to clear out, select everybody in that last bucket that we had filtered out. And we're taking a look at course history 3s. And let's go ahead and remove James Hahn from that. This doesn't make things any easier. We have Russell Henley up there once again. Same with Keegan Bradley. Man, that is tough. I do like seeing Sung J.M. and Jordan Spieth up there. I'm trying to force Jordan Spieth into most of my lineups. I could see going Jordan Spieth and Russell Henley. They're also in the same strokes gained 3 bucket, which is a bit difficult to go with. I really like KH Lee. I mean, the thumbnail of this video is pretty much who I like going into the week. I usually do all my thumbnails that way, just golfers that I like. And this in the strategy video, this video it was KH Lee and Jordan Spieth. So I'm trying to make that work out. So we want somewhere between 2 to 5 golfers. I like a lot of golfers in this range, and you're going to see the optimizer spit out a lot of golfers from here. Like, it chose Chris Kirk a bunch. It chose Adam Scott a big. You're going to see that. It chose Adam Scott a lot. It also chose Keegan Bradley here and there. It really started in the 9K range. It excluded all 10K golfers, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, we'll see that here. And really, it's hard to make any decisions with 6K golfers and down. Remember, I just say close your eyes and throw a dart at each of these guys. Like, just choose them by random. Very difficult to get your eyes locked in on a 6K golfer and they not disappoint you. So I just stay away from locking in 6Ks. I only really like to look up 7Ks or 7Ks and up. And a lot of these guys I don't mind. Like, I don't mind playing Robbie Shelton or Lucas Glover or Grayson Sigg or Chris Kirk, Nick Hardy, Mac Hughes, JT Poston, Denny McCarthy. I mean, any of these guys. I don't mind playing any of them. Remember, we want 2 to 5 of them. So really, it's up to you. Who do you want to play of those guys? Let's move on to the next one. Salaries are 7K golfers. I'm not going to go through the 7K range. We'll let the optimizer kind of select that by itself. But strokes gained 1 and 3. So this is interesting. So strokes gained 1 golfers are going to be really our best golfers. These are all strokes gained stats positive. We want somewhere between 1 to 3. And it's really close to being over 3, which we most likely would say 1 to 4. But our conservative max projection, which either boosts us up or brings us down, is bringing us down. So really, we want 1 to 3 of these guys. So again, come in here. Let's select everyone from the course history bucket and then filter out everyone except for our strokes gained 1 buckets. And it's all your top guys. Yeah, we have Ben Taylor down here, $6,800. That seems like a good value. Kurt Kitayama seems also like a good value. I don't know if you guys follow this page, but there's this golf injury report I got pushed to. I think is actually a great choice to go take a look. I think Kurt Kitayama's on here, so this is kind of our own like version of injury report. Kind of, they're pretty good. They talked about Xander last week with the potential to withdraw, and they were spot on. So yeah, Xander did withdraw, and I think Kurt Kitayama's down here at the bottom, if I remember. Maybe not. I guess not. Yeah, so don't look at this Tom Hoagie thing. This was a traveling thing. I don't think that's going to be an issue. I think it was David Lipsky. That might have got I might have been confused with that. I thought I saw Kurt Kitayama as well. Okay. Go ahead and bring this back over here. Get back here. So, hey, Kurt Kitayama I like. I also really like Cam Davis, KH Lee, Keegan Bradley, a lot of these guys. I'm probably staying away from Billy Horschel, though, honestly. I think Billy Horschel was number 1 on their list, by the way. I don't know why it wasn't showing that. I think it was just a thread. John Hull withdrew this week. Okay. Interesting. Korean cowboy. That's true. I like KH Lee. Yeah, so 1 to 3 golfers from here. Now, it's not really so much select 1 to 3. I'm projecting 1 to 3 guys from this bucket finishing inside the top 10. You might not be able to roster 2 guys from here. Like, you might, if it could be Tom Kim and Sung J.M. that finish inside the top 10. It could be Tom Kim and Hideki Matsuyama. And one of them could finish 9th, and you wouldn't want to roster them if you were trying to take down a GPP. So really, you just might want to select 1 guy from here And it could happen that 2 or 3 of these guys do finish inside the top 10, but you wouldn't have been able to roster each one of them. So if it was like the top 3 guys here, Kim, Im, and Matsuyama, they could finish inside the top 10 and you can't roster all 3 of them. So you still have to select 2. So keep that in mind. Just because it says 1 to 3 and you're like, well, I need to fit 3 guys in, that might be a fool's errand. Like, might not want to do that. But I think there's enough value down here. I mean, KH Lee, Cam Davis, JT Poston, Kurt Kitayama, Ben Taylor. I don't mind creating lineups that way. And I guess if I were to select 3 golfers from this bucket to put in my lineup, I'm probably putting like Ben Taylor and one of these 4 golfers, like KH Lee, Davis, Poston, and Kitayama, to pair up with any of these guys up top. I think it's the only way you can do it if you're going to put 3 in there, which kind of hamstrings you, but it also, you know, makes your lineup building pretty strict. So it might actually help you out. And those 3 guys could literally be the guys you want in your lineup. So keep that in mind. And then stroke chain 3, we want somewhere between 1 and 3 golfers here as well. So go ahead and take out the stroke chain 1, put in stroke chain 3. There we go. We got Jordan Spieth up there, Russell Henley, Corey Connors. These are already names that are giving us headaches trying to figure out who to play. But that 7K range is pretty juicy. There's a lot of good golfers there. And I don't mind the 6K range. Now, just to remind you what this bucket is, it's positive off the tee, negative putting. So it's really interesting to see Jordan Spieth there. And this is one of those like moments we could talk about stroke chain stats. If he's been hitting the ball really well off the tee and then sticking his irons close, meaning he has positive off the tee, positive approach, any missed putt is going to lose him strokes. So to me, a good putter like Jordan Spieth can turn that around. We know Jordan Spieth is a good putter, but over the last year, he's -1 or -0.198. Approach still looks good. Off the tee is not bad. That tee to green stat looks really good. Jordan Spieth is one of those guys that can obviously turn around the putter. And these are relatively flat greens. Really like Spieth this week. Same applies with like Corey Connors. We know he's a bad putter, but in a golf course like this where the greens are fairly flat, I don't see there being an issue with Corey Connors. Like, I just think Corey can't find the line. He usually hits the speed pretty correctly. So the chance of 3 putts probably not really high with Corey Connors, but you know, the actual birdie makes might be low. Either way, I think he's a safe play. I really like a lot of these golfers down here though. I could see myself getting on a few of these guys, and we want somewhere between 1 to 3. I'd be comfortable playing 3. There's enough golfers in here that you could do that. Probably want to start with 2, if I'm being honest. Yeah, there have been at least 2 golfers from this bucket to finish inside the top 10 every single year. So make that as you will. It gives me more confidence playing 2 golfers. It doesn't mean that 2 golfers will actually be inside the top 10. Remember, the projection's 1 to 3. These are fairly conservative projections to finish inside the top 10. All right. I don't mind Grillo. I think it's difficult. I think he's $8,000 if I remember correctly. Let me open this up. Is he a stroke chain 2 golfer? Yeah. So his putting came around. He's a positive putter now. $8,000. I don't mind Grillo. I don't mind waiting, honestly. Even though this is a short golf course, I don't necessarily care all that much to put a short hitter in my lineup. Wow, his only negative stat is around the green over last year. Has he turned it around? Oh, his approach isn't super great. So still positive, but barely. So that's something to think about. Okay. Hopefully this gave you guys some ideas on what to do with lineups. Again, if you're interested in the optimizer, let me know. Obviously, be subscribe, comment down below, email me at SweetSpotDFS@gmail.com. And I will send you the optimizer if you'd like it. Of course, I should also mention some giveaways. Just to remind you, I forgot to do this in the last strategy video. If you want a chance to win $50 at the end of the month, you gotta be subscribed, comment down below. I want to reward those that participate on the channel. So everyone that participated in the live chat here will also get an entry into this giveaway just by showing up and doing the live chat. Also, this goes into the weekly giveaway. I don't have a graphic for it, but just pretend instead of saying it monthly, it says weekly. I will give you, well, if you participate on the channel this week in any of the videos that I post, you automatically get entered into the weekly giveaway. I'm giving $5 away next Monday during the preview video. So if you want in on that, again, be subscribed, comment down below, and you'll get entered into that. Another quick reminder, prize picks. If you haven't signed up yet, hard to imagine you haven't, if you can, but use the promo code SweetSpot when you sign up. There is a link in the description below, and that will give you, well, got distracted by Jeffrey Lawrence there. Sign up, use the promo code SweetSpot. Again, there's a link in the description below. I'll get you straight to the sign up page using the SweetSpot promo code. If you put $20 in, I will return your $20. So you get to play it for free, and prize picks will match your deposit up to $100. So you'll actually have 40 in your account. So it's available to you guys. Thank you guys. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe on your way out, and I'll see you in the next one. All right, bye.